Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Leo. If Leo is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so our card tonight is the Princess of Wands. What a fiery, passionate, just kind of, I always think of just like somebody who is, coming into the world of love and finding something they absolutely are just taken by. Finding one of those things in life that kind of transports you. You can just get so lost in it. And that's such a lovely feeling, isn't it? Okay, let's go ahead and see what these tea leaves have to say. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And I would just love to have you here at the channel. So if you also want to comment or, like the video or anything like that too, any kind of interaction is most welcome. All right. So now I see we have an F and an M. So FM okay, so I want to start here with this little grouping we have right here. Okay, and so we have, it looks like maybe a feminine person or somebody with long hair. Just long flowy hair. Like my husband. Shout out to Paul over there at Dove and Serpent Tarot. If you have not seen his work, his tarot readings, go check out his channel. If you have, you're probably coming over here from his channel to check out my stuff, and I thank you so much. We both appreciate you. And now we also have next to it, it reminds me of Osiris. If you can imagine or think of the depictions of Osiris with that kind of tall, what is that shape? I don't know. It's kind of a almost like a bowling ball or bowling pin, I think, something like that. It's kind of a beautiful, like a white crown upon his head, and then we have these beautiful plants here. Okay, so I feel like we have this very kind of listen, so, Osiris is a subterranean, an underworld god, a god of the dead, basically, right? He is torn apart and then put back together, but he is an old god, right? A passed on god, not unlike kind of Saturn or Uranus or something like this. This is a god of plant wisdom, a god of and I feel like he's a god of, I was going to say mead, but not mead. Excuse me, of beer. and somewhat of intoxication, right? To some degree. But it's not necessarily the intoxicant or being intoxicated. It is the altered perception, okay? So I'm looking at this, and I'm not saying that you're going to go drinking. You know, if you've seen my channel, you probably know that I am in recovery for substance abuse. So I'm not one to, I'm not here advocating, nor am I judging. But I am thinking of this more as almost kind of that lunar energy, a little bit distorted, maybe kind of surreal, in a place of being able to look at the world with very creative eyes. You are not one that dwells in other people's realities for too long. Now, you may be kind of, your worlds collide and you kind of step into, you know, the lives that they have, you know, masterfully articulated for themselves, but you are not somebody to just kind of dwell there, right? But I do feel like you have a partner here, and you have somebody that almost kind of, I think of as like a time traveling partner. This is somebody who not only do you love, you have a soul bond. You know, you go into many aspects of life together. This isn't your standard relationship where, you know, you kind of, yeah, you love each other, you're attracted to each other, you start a family, and, you know, you have all the domestic duties. This is somebody who you travel the universe with. You go on absolute journeys and ordeals, and you know, you are woven of the same stuff. And this is a, you know, this is a beautiful, beautiful connection, a rarity. Now, this doesn't mean that it's romantic. It could be, but this could be a dear friend. It could be a family member. It could be an animal companion. Whatever it is, I feel that you both we're absolutely devoted to one another. And it maybe is even a relationship that people find hard to understand because of your closeness. I think in kind of the cynical and pessimistic world that we live in, you know, myself included, as a Virgo, I'm pretty, I could be pretty cynical, I guess. But I think people kind of look at your dynamic here and think, oh my gosh, these people are codependent, or, you know, it's weird that they're like always together. They're always like interacting with each other. You know, everything you do kind of like is shared with one another, right? And that maybe has made it difficult for you to have deep relationships with other people, because this is a relationship that I can't imagine how you could be closer with somebody, you know? And if this is not romantic, you know, if this is like a sibling or a best friend or whatever it is, to try to meet somebody else and bring them into the fold, I feel like would be quite difficult for them more so than you. But at the same time, I don't think that you really mind that much. You know, you have what you need here, and that is a traveling companion, and somebody who, you know, I feel like there's been so much evolution together that you're not very bothered by you know, what other people feel about this, you know, this relationship, this dynamic that you have. Okay, so now let's go ahead, and I'm going to turn this a little bit. Now we have, it looks like a koi and a fish pond right here, a little pond there. I have a person standing here. We also have like a little birdhouse up here, maybe even kind of two birdhouses. We have a mother figure. We have the mammaries here. Oh, and we do have a person standing here. It looks like they're feeding the fish. So I feel like we have this kind of idyllic, almost garden setting. And I don't know that this is, quote unquote real. I don't know that, like you have a garden with a koi pond, or that you visit one. Maybe you do, but I do feel like this is kind of an interior space. I feel like this is almost like a place that you dream of, or is a created kind of sacred, a sacred interior landscape. And I am once I try to get my schedule together, I want to do these guided meditation. I want to do a new channel with guided meditation. And I also want to talk a lot about building the interior temple, building these interior landscapes. I talk about them briefly in my readings, and I know some people are like, what the heck are you talking about? But what I can liken it to is kind of, if you've ever had a dream that was recurrent throughout your life, and it is a place that you go to in your dream, and it's somewhere that you visit, and it feels familiar because you've been there, you've gone there throughout your life in the dreamscape. It is similar to this, but it is more intentional. Okay, this is a place that you are building intentionally to do some kind of work, right? And they have this thing, it's called a memory palace. It's, and I say they, human beings, some great thinkers out there somewhere, they created a thing called the memory palace. Okay, and these are places constructed in your mind's eye, like a garden, right? And when you go to that garden and you know where everything's laid out, okay, there's the bench, there's the koi pond, there's maybe like, the bird houses and a beautiful tree. For some reason I was thinking of an olive tree. I have a great love for olive trees, but okay, and they're all kind of laid out there. And when you go to each place in the garden, they hold a different memory. So that bench may represent something like, I don't know, like your childhood phone number. So when you go to that bench, that's where you've encoded the memory of this phone number, of the series of numbers, right? And so when you want to access that in your mind, you go to this place and there you unlock these numbers, right? And so it is a reminder. And so this can be true of kind of a sacred and spiritual place. We walk around the pond in such a way that it is prayers, that we may have access to, one of our divine entities, maybe a guardian angel, maybe a companion, an archetype manifest, whatever it is. So I do feel like you have this place inside of you. And I don't know that you're always very familiar with it, but even as I'm talking about it, I wonder, right? I wonder if you are thinking, yeah, I have these dreams. Now, maybe it's not the garden with the koi pond. Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe it's, your childhood home. That's a place we do dream about a lot, isn't it? And it maybe looks different. It feels different. And maybe this is where some of the ordeals of your life play out. And, often these places can feel almost haunted, right? But these are interior landscapes, and they're there for us to do the work. They're there for us to live in moments of emotionality, but in a way that is safe. It's not, it doesn't feel so out of our control. And so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking there is this movement towards, really becoming more accessible to yourself. I feel like so often we are focused on the doings of the outside world. how other people are behaving. What are the events going on out there? You know, what is the weather like? Is that going to make me sad today? Is it going to make me happy? You know, is the traffic ridiculous? Or, you know, whatever it is. All of these things that we're focused on. Things that we don't like about the world. What we don't like about other people's behaviors. Things that we don't like about ourselves within this world. But I think, you know, we come into these places where it's like, okay, we have to kind of turn into ourselves. This is where we need to look at, like, what is it that I don't like? You know, what is it that really is resonating with me so deeply about that stuff out there that I am internalizing it? Where do I need to go within myself to start to really unlock some of these, like, you know, if you could think, they're like knots, they're blockages. How do I begin that process? And, you know, I think that there's just this real want for some serenity, okay? Some peace. Bring me some peace. But there is also with the bird houses, right? There is a sense of wanting to cultivate, a sense of wanting home, wanting to kind of nest and produce something. Now, it doesn't have to be children or grandchildren or anything like that, although it could be, right? Maybe there's that instinct to further the family, you know, but I think often it is a sense of wanting to express ourselves, okay, and do that in a way that feels like we are accessing that really, you know, our true home, which is, you know, kind of the container of our soul. Now, if that is our physical body, if that is a place that we have kind of created to go and visit, if that is our ability to create or communicate, or, you know, however you consider the thing that houses your soul. So I feel like there's this real, just a push for having a little less noise, having, a little more time to kind of stroll about. Now, the koi also is a sign of prosperity, of longevity, and good fortune. So to see that, not only just the koi, but the koi in water, and the water is the emotionality, right? The water is also that primordial kind of soupy thing where we can access the abstract so that we may begin to create. So we may begin to conceive of something new in our life. If you could imagine trying something that really blows my mind. Okay, here we go. Is I think about getting into that primordial water, right? That sea of unconscious or whatever. And trying to find something I've never even thought of. And the way that it's hard to imagine that, but the way that I think of it is, if you could experience a color, a new color that you've never seen before, something that just is like absolutely enchanting because you just have never, you've never ever experienced this thing. And the idea that could emerge, especially in adulthood, seems, the novelty of it blows your mind. How could that even be, right? We often feel like we've seen everything, we've done everything, there's nothing new under the sun. Wow. If we can access that primordial watery place, oh boy, there's infinite fragments of things to be put together, to create new. And so when I see this, I do. It's a sign that there is great innovation available to you. There is great inspiration. The muse is singing to you. She is calling you. She would like to commune with you, and that's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful sign. That is something that we all kind of look for, don't we? Especially if you are a creative. If you are somebody who has devoted your life to some form of creativity, or, you know, I mean, this is applicable to so many things. It's not just arts. When I'm saying this often, I think, oh yeah, well, maybe they're not a writer or painter or whatever. But I mean, it could be crafting. It could be, you know, finding new ways of doing things within the work that you do, you know, whatever your career or skill set is. All of these are very creative. Everything we do can become creative. It's just a matter of figuring out how, right? Okay, so now we have a person here holding a large candle. Now the candle to me is kind of a download of information, like a spiritual download, a cosmic download, the illuminating light. So we do have in a way this almost hermit figure, but also holding a sword. So we have the illumination, but we also have the sword, which is the knowledge, right? The pursuit of intellectual you know, whatever, pursuit of intellectual pursuits. So, I look at this and I'm thinking it seems like moving into research, maybe. And this would make sense if there is, a sense of that tickle of creativity that, you know, you're very motivated here. And so that comes with a lot of research, learning how to do things, learning how to, you know, problem solve, getting background information, all of that kind of stuff. So I do feel like, you know, you're going to be on some real long wiki rabbit holes here pretty soon. You're going to find yourself on the internet, you know, reading and I can imagine looking into things that coincide with this creative movement that is happening. And that's not always easy, right? Here's the thing too, is with the sword, it is a tool, okay, but it is also something that can be somewhat damaging, right? I mean, how many times in our life have we found out about, really looked at something and became, you know, more understanding of what's going on, and you think, I wish I didn't even know, you know, the reality of this. This is, you know, much more disturbing or uncomfortable or whatever than I ever imagined. So, you know, it takes a lot of bravery to become knowledgeable in a lot of different, you know, in a lot of things. And so it is, you know, and so it is here. There is a sense of kind of, you know, pushing on and going into those sometimes dark places to gain that knowledge. But it all feeds into that ability to create and access those places of creativity. Okay, so we have a 3 right here. And I'm going to go over here. We're going to look at this one. Okay. I got to do something with this, making sounds. We're in our new studios, Paul and I, and so I'm figuring out everything. The lighting's a little different. The sound is a little different. It's a little more echoey here. And also just the way that I'm sitting, I have a taller desk now. And you probably don't know because you don't know me in IRL, but I'm about 5 foot tall. So, it is hard to, sometimes when something's even just a couple inches taller, getting used to it, because now this desk comes up to almost the middle of my chest when I'm sitting, and it feels like I feel like a little kid at like mom and dad's desk or something. And it's pretty, I'm trying to get used to it. Oh, oops. Dropped some of that tea. Okay, so we have a pretty flower right here. And let's see, we have a heart, we have a person, a heart, a pretty flower. I just feel like there's so much emphasis on this companion. I almost wonder, and now if this is like a family member, then probably not, right? Just forget what I'm saying here. If your companion is like your mom or, you know, whatever, no here. But I do feel like there's almost kind of a sense of being quite in love. And now I don't know. Again, I just get the feeling that this is not your primary relationship. It could be that it is your spouse, but I almost feel like this is a good friend. I mean, just your best friend. It's a soulmate on it. I mean, and listen, I say soulmate. I believe anyways that we all have many soulmates in our life. Now they're at varying levels, and some are romantic and some are not. And you know, and I don't believe that having one soulmate is you know, the goal of life. Like we just find out. I don't know. I'm not that person that you know, but I do feel like we do. Like for me, it's been my cats mostly. My husband, my cats, my daughter, you know. But yeah, I do feel like this is, there is a sense of just, and maybe I'm just confusing it with romance, but gosh, I just feel like there's such a magnetic pull here. It's hard to imagine your life any other way. It's like this person has always been there. And there's just this sense of feeling at ease with them. There's a lot of love. And I think that, you know, in this dynamic, when you are spending time together, communing, talking about, you know, things that are important to you, of interest to you, it fuels that creative spirit that you have, right? And we have the sexual energy of the wands, the creative energy of the wands. And so you know, I feel that this is it. I mean, in that love, dwelling in that love that you have, it's like a key. It really does unlock the door for you to find those streams of consciousness that really, it's just so amplified when you're in a good place and you are really vibing and enjoying your time together, and there's not, you know, a lot of kind of problems or misconnection or whatever. And so, you know, I think that this will be a very fruitful time for you. Definitely feel that. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the Wild Bohemian affirmation cards, and these are the fire sign. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to flip through and stop where it feels right. Okay. And it says, I am divine truth. I am divine truth. Worlds are born of your wild and courageous heart. Your essence is creation. Yeah, and this one totally vibes with me, with the reading, because we're just talking about that sword energy, having that candle, and there's a sense of having to be pretty courageous to shine light on things that maybe are going to be difficult, but I think most necessary for the work. And just to believe in your, and this is corny, but to believe in yourself that you have the ability to kind of birth these beautiful and intricate and complex and wild things that you were making. And as I'm saying that, I was thinking, if outside of this realm of my creativity, of my own work, I'm really into meme culture. And it's ridiculous, but honestly, it flows so seamlessly from, the magical work I do. Also, I'm very into art and music. And so all of these things kind of, they all cross over together, and the meme world just, I have a great love for people that create memes. Even if they're just, obviously a lot of them are ridiculous, but something that is so reduced, it just into something that conveys such profound message, so relatable often too. It's just magnificent in my mind. So, if you're a courageous meme maker, shout out to you. You have all of my love, absolutely. So anyways, Leo, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do. And I thank you so much for spending this time with me. If you would be so kind as to like the video, it really does help the channel so much. And if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit that little bell. It'll let you know when the next videos are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I would love to hear from you. All right. With that, again, I'll say I love you. I love you. I love you. Take care of yourself. And we'll talk in just a few days. All right. Goodbye. Good night.